Hey guys, happy Wednesday. We are back with another video, and this video is going to be our week 2 season 16 CC defense. We got a feel for how the rooms and everything were playing out. Now, of course, Scopely just announced that they've changed room 3 and 6. So with that, it kind of puts us back to the drawing board a little bit. However, I'm going to go into how I finished last weekend's strategy with my defense and what my plan is going into week 2. So I hope you guys get some value out of this. If you do, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell so you get alerted as soon as I drop a video. And if you think this is helpful, share it with your friends and alliance mates. Now let's jump into it and start talking a little bit about defense. So here's what we've got going on. So in room 1, as a refresher, on offense and defense, if your character is a skirmisher, they're going to assist on all attacks. Okay. Now, the very first round of last week, I went heavy on defense and I paid the price significantly. So I switched and started going heavy on offense. Now, that's going to be a bit of a difference because of these room changes, which we'll get into. But for this room, it's absolutely going to stay the same. And I have full Illuminati with Captain Britain. Okay? They are all skirmishers, and they are ultra fast. So far, I've really only come across a couple different teams that can beat this room. However, the rest of my defense makes it a little bit tricky, and you'll see what I mean as we continue on. With that being said, room 2, Sinister's Gambit. On spawn, your character with the highest health clones the enemy character with the highest attack. Now, this is a little bugged, and we'll get into that. The cloning actually occurs based off of your middle character. Whoever you have here, it's going to clone the opposite team's highest damage dealer, and they're going to clone with this tune's speed. So in this room, you want to have your fastest tune in the middle so that your clone also has that same exact speed. Now in this room, we're using Vigilante. Very simply, Vigilante usually pulls Vigilante. So the way that I have my defense set up, it's set up to kind of pull certain teams so that they can't use them elsewhere. So in this room, this is set up simply so that the other opponent has to use Vigilante, or most likely wants to use Vigilante in this room. This room right here is designed to pull Accursed or Starjammers. If you don't have either one of those, this room with Illuminati as all skirmishers is very difficult to beat. So let's jump into room 3. Now this is where the first change has occurred. The best offense. On turn, bury yourself for 5% of that character's max health and flip offense down on self. On turn, if this character's barrier is above 50%, gain offense up. Now, the way this sounds is you're going to be better off using high barrier characters in here. So my opinion is you would probably, the team that comes to mind is Astral. They have a lot of barrier. But I've got to be honest. I think this is just a dead room. I don't think this offense up for 50% barrier is going to make a bit of difference. Where the big difference is going to come in is this room is no longer the room with no ults. So my main concern is there's basically no room rules in this entire season now that are really effective of much of anything with the exception of room 1. The rest of the rooms really are just kind of is what it is. So with that being said, going into the second week, for now, I'm just going to leave the same exact defense that I used last weekend in here, which is Phoenix Force and 3-piece Annihilators. This room is most likely going to pull in Immortal X-Men. However, with Omega being 3 diamond, it's very difficult for them to get through this room with Immortal because Storm's ultimate most likely won't kill him. So I'm going to try it. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, I'll do updates through my videos if I make any changes in here, but as of right now, I'm not going to. All right, room 4. On offense and defense, Annihilator characters count as Starjammers. Again, kind of irrelevant. I have Starjammers in here, minus Lilandra, because I'm using Lilandra on offense. And this room is designed only to pull Starjammers. If you don't use Starjammers in this room, you're going to have to use a bigger team. Like you're going to have to use Mephisto or Odin. Or it's going to be very unlikely that you can get through this room. So that's the whole reason they're in here, is to pull Starjammers. The idea is, if this room can pull Vigilante, this room can pull Starjammers. This room, because Starjammers is most likely going to be used in room 4, this room is probably going to pull Accursed, which becomes an issue in room 5. So in my room 5, while they're down, on successful hit, if the primary target has trauma, perform an ISO attack against the target. This is where the global rules come into play. Curse of the Accursed. On successful hit, apply trauma. So with that being said, every time the Accursed attack, they're going to apply trauma. If you hit a character with trauma, they're going to perform an ISO attack. So I'm using Accursed in this room. Now, Accursed isn't the greatest team on defense. However, this is going to put people in a position where they have to make a decision. Are they going to use Accursed in this room with, say, Mephisto? Or are they going to use Accursed in room 1 to get an easy win on the Illuminati? So all of my defensive rooms are set up to pull certain teams to try to make somebody make a decision that's going to trip them up. Now, I will tell you, I don't know how well this is going to work in week 2 because room 3 and room 6 are different now and they're not difficult anymore. So we'll just have to wait and see how that works. All right, room 6. This is also a new room, health insurance. On turn, clear all positive effects from self and heal 10% of that character's max health for each positive effect removed. So this room essentially is probably going to be a room that is going to pull efficiency because there's going to be consistent healing and you're not going to be attacking with offense up because it's going to be pulling all of those positive effects and healing each time. Now, in the last round, we used Night Stalkers in this room. With that being said, I think we're going to swap them out. And I think that I'm going to bring in, let's see here. I am going to bring in Orcus. All right, we're going to bring in Lady Deathstrike. And we're going to bring in Apocalypse. All right. So the reason that we're going to be doing this is because sustainability. On turn 1, she's going to be putting a ton of positive effects across your entire team, minus APOC. And therefore, every time they take a turn, they're going to be healing up substantially. With that being said, from the get-go, we'll see how this plays out, how this works. we're kind of starting over because the two most difficult rooms are now gone. So we're going to go ahead and start out with this. Now, I went heavy on offense last week after getting destroyed the first round because I was so heavy on defense. So I'm going into week 2 heavy on offense again, and then we're just going to play it by ear and see how it turns out. If it's getting down to 3 to 5 points for efficiency is going to be deciding victories, I'm probably going to rotate some stuff back over to defense. But we'll see how that goes, because on offense, we're going to have Odin, Mephisto, Songbird, Lilandra, Professor X, Shadow King, Emma. We're going to be heavy. All of the Fantastic Four. So we're going to have a lot going on offense. So our goal is going to be essentially full clears. No dropped attacks. And hopefully the defense that we've got set up is going to pull a mistake here or there. Again, I felt a lot more confident going into this week based off of the experience from last weekend. But of course, we're all starting fresh now with new rooms being added. So I'll keep you guys up to date. This is how we're going to go into round 1. We'll get a feel for how that's looking. And we'll update accordingly. And, of course, I'll update you guys in the video and let you guys know exactly what's going on. So, with that being said, if you guys have any questions, obviously drop those down in the comments. I'll make sure that I get to them, and I'll do my best to help any way that I can. Until the next video, guys, you know the drill. Stay positive and enjoy the game.